All right, welcome everybody. It's Chris Petri. We're back again. We're having fun. We're enjoying ourselves. We're going to create a beautiful farmhouse here in the countryside, in the farmlands. Beautiful time to do the glazing technique. We're going to cover all the techniques you need to know and the methods for the glazing technique. So we're going to do this beautiful painting. We have some warm colors for the facade of this building, some oranges and browns with a little bit of blue mixed in there, some purples and reds for the roofs, some beautiful red chimneys, some red brick chimneys, some gorgeous colors for the foreground with the grass. And we do a gorgeous tree here on the side. We have some purple mountains and trees in the background and some bushes. A figure here of someone on the farm is working. It's kind of interesting. That might be the focal point of the painting. A person here working on the farm. A beautiful pond with some reflections in it of the building down into the pond. We're going to show you how to get this whole painting done step by step, and you'll have a fun time doing it. And this is an extreme beginner's painting, so we're going to be using the Prang Oval 16 set, simple brushes, synthetic brushes. We're using nothing but square brushes in this painting, except for a few details. We will use a round brush, a more fine-pointed round brush, but for the most part, we're just using square brushes and lots of water. The glazing technique, we cover the glazing technique here. We made a list of the glazing technique. So basically we just covered it in a bullet point fashion where we said light wash first, let that dry 100%. That's your sky color, that blue and goldish color all the way across the whole painting. Let that dry 100%, come back and we'll do our medium washes. Let those dry as we're working. And then finally we get the dark washes last. And by the time we're starting to work in our darkest dark washes, like on the chimneys, the shadows, the windows, the doors, some of the bushes, the tree, some of these other details in here, that's at the very end of the painting when the majority of the other subject matter is complete. So you're having a fun time getting in some darks just to round out the painting, make it look really beautiful. You have the full range of lights to darks. Really looks great. It's very powerful, very impactful when someone looks at your painting, and you can have it done in this fashion where you have all of the ranges of your tonal values here. You have the lights, you have the medium tones of this facade and the green grasses and so forth in the pond, and then you have, of course, your darkest darks in your windows and doors, shadowing. Your chimneys and your roofs are a little bit toward the dark on this painting, so you really have lots of darks, tons of light, and a lot of medium tones. So you're going to have a great time doing this. You learn a lot, have fun, and we'll get started in just a second. Okay, so we just saw the finished painting. Now we're going to get right into it here. We're doing an Extreme Beginners series video. So the first thing we'd like to do is let's get our sketch in here. So I'm using a dark B pencil, 4B. We're going to do just a gorgeous, as you just saw the finished painting, it's a beautiful like countryside scene with like a farm type house. So it's like a farmhouse along the water. There's maybe like a pond or a lake along the country house here, a farmhouse. So let's get right into it here. I'm just going to always cover the main fundamental methods and techniques that we would use in watercolor from the very beginning. So the first thing we do is let's make a border around our painting so you can kind of see it here on camera. So I'll do that. Like so. So we have our border, our pencil line, our rectangle. Then we're going to say, all right, where is the horizon line, let's say, of the painting, where we're going to see mostly the division between the sky and the land. Here in this painting, if we go to the halfway point, which is about here, that's about halfway. So let's say we say that's 1, 2, so halfway. We're going to go below halfway, maybe about just a touch under the halfway point. So that's going to be our where we're going to see our mountains in the background and our ground, and where our sky meets the hills in the background and the ground level. So we have that there, here. And if we want to just make it, we make sure we can erase this here. So we can erase that off the tape. And this is going to be our horizon line here, like that. And then we want to, next thing we want to do is let's kind of start to get the feel for, we can just go across here with a light pencil line. That's our line across here. Then we're going to, maybe we're going to come over here, and then maybe shortly across here, we're just maybe going to make maybe a structure like so. This we're going to kind of have a square. So I'll make it a little darker, like so. So that's going to be a square with a roof, like so. Like that. So that's the first thing we draw in, is a square with a pyramid on top. So essentially you can kind of see how this is basically a square and then a pyramid on top, or a triangle, like that. The only thing is I didn't draw in this line here. I left that out, but pretty much that's the shape there. And then from that point, we do have a larger, similar structure. Let's do this. Now this is a portion of the building that's right behind this. So we did the first section of our building here, which is basically a wall with a gable roof. Then behind that we have the same thing. Basically another, but this is more of a rectangle. This is more of a square, if you can see that, with a triangle on top. This is a rectangle with a triangle on top. And there we go. We have the first part of our building complete, 100%. And then at this point, we're going to do our chimney like this, like so, with some chimney pots up there, like so. And there we have it. Then if you want, you can be really fussy and say, you know what, I'm going to erase this part, because in essence this is not visible. The chimney actually is like that. Then we're going to have a roof over here like this. 2 stories pretty much. Like so. And then another section of wall and roof. So 2 roofs here, a roof here and a roof here, and you can kind of see I didn't do anything fancy. Just basically a square and another smaller square and 2 roofs with a little bit of slope on the, a little bit of an angle on the roofs here, like that. Okay, so that is good. And then we have another small wall over here, like so. Okay, now at this point here, we're going to make another bit of land here, a sloping part of this landscape here, like so, across. You can kind of see how I did that. I started up here and I kind of gently sloped it down this way. Then here, that's going to be our pond. right here. So we have some grass and fields here, and then a pond right here. You can simplify this pond. Instead of zigzagging all over the place like I just did now, I might just go like this and make it a nice easy angle out like this, and the same thing like this. Makes it easier. And again, this is extreme beginners. We're not going to try to get too fancy, if that makes sense. Let's kind of keep it a little bit simple here. So now, this is a farmhouse, of course. These are, it's a 2-story farmhouse. So I'm going to make a little, very, very slight, light line across here like that. That'll give me my 2 floors, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Okay, so this here's a large barn door like that. And then up here, I'm going to do a window here. And then a window over here. And the same thing over here. I'm going to do a window here and a window here. And then a door over here, like so. And another window here, like that. And another door here, like so. Now you can kind of see this door over here is a little larger. This is closer to us. And this one's a little further away that way. So that's why we make this one a little smaller. And I think we're going to make another chimney over here. So let's do this. Let's make another chimney over here. Like that. A couple of chimney pots like so. If the chimney is a little bit like that. And then maybe another chimney pot over here. And this is a smaller chimney here. And then maybe another one over here. Like that. And then you can see we have a nice farmhouse shaping up here. And then let's do the mountains in the background, some hills, some mountains, like so. And then maybe over here we're going to have some fence posts. Like that. Leading our eyes into the painting, like so. That. Wonderful. Okay, we have our sketch done. One more thing. Let's do an interesting tree over here. Let's have it leaning into the picture over here, like so. So we're going to have a tree and it's leaning into the picture. That looks always good. If you have something kind of leading your eyes into the painting this way. So we'll do that. Like that. And maybe a few bushes over here too. Like that. And we have our mountains in the background. Maybe some hills. And a couple windows over here like that. And we're set. Okay, so we're going to come back. You did see the finished painting in the beginning of this video, so there's no mystery in this here. You're going to see how we did this. And we'll cover each step of the way as we go. I always mention, if you're enjoying these videos here, especially this Extreme Beginners videos, please subscribe. It's just right here on the right-hand side, down below on the screen. And when you click on subscribe, and then you click on the notification bell at the very, very top, the little bell all the way at the top, all that does is just the next time you open up YouTube, you'll see my video there, my newest video, my latest video. So this way you can keep a track of what I'm doing here, and we're all working together. We're sharpening our skills every week, every month, every year. We're constantly sharpening our skills with watercolor, with drawing, with painting, with the methods, the techniques you need to actually master watercolor. And also we cover all types of subject matter. So we might be doing a farmhouse. The next time we might do a boat along the ocean, a beautiful seascape. Next time we might do flowers, the next week after that. So we're always changing our subject matter, so you're getting a little bit of everything you like, but we're always covering the same fundamental techniques and methods in watercolor. And that's the most important thing. If you can learn the same methods and techniques constantly, every day, every week, every month, every year, shortly and soon after that, you will have learned so much about watercolor and how to actually paint well, create beautiful paintings, and I know that's what you want. So if you stay here with this channel, you are going to learn watercolor, and you're going to learn it well, and you'll be able to create beautiful paintings. And you can, today on this tutorial, you'll learn how to create this painting, and I'm sure you'll be able to create something very similar to this, and it's going to look successful, look good, look beautiful. Well, let's get started. I'm just going to come back. I'm going to take a quick break, if you don't mind. I'll be right back, and then we'll start the painting portion. We're going to use the glazing technique too. So remember that we're doing the glazing technique here. Sometimes we're going to use the alla prima technique, but here it's the glazing technique. So you're going to see it firsthand here, how we use the glazing technique to create a wonderful effect for your watercolors. Okay, so we'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and we're going to be putting our washes on in just a second. We have our palette all ready to go with this beautiful Prang Oval 16 watercolor set. I always mention, if you're an extreme beginner, hey, maybe this is your first time here. Maybe this is your first time ever watching my video. Welcome. Thanks so much for coming by. I really appreciate it. And with the Extreme Beginners series videos, you're going to learn the fundamentals and the basics of watercolor right from the start. I'm not going to be going into any real complex watercolor paintings on the Extreme Beginners videos. So even if you want to go back and check out my other videos, I have numerous, many Extreme Beginners videos. All you have to do is type in Chris Petri, Extreme Beginners into YouTube, into the YouTube search bar, hit enter. You'll see dozens and dozens of Extreme Beginner videos, and they're all pretty much similar in the fact that I'm not getting into any very complicated techniques and methods in watercolor. I'm sticking to the basics, and that's what we're doing here. So I just wanted to mention that in case you do want to meander back into the archives, my YouTube channel. If you go into my YouTube channel, or you don't even have to go into my channel, you can just type on in YouTube on the search button, Chris Petri, Extreme Beginners, and you'll see all my other videos that are labeled Extreme Beginners. So we have the Extreme Beginners watercolor set, which is basically the Prang Oval 16 set. You can find this online. You can find this in any of your hobby stores, your big box art supply stores. So you can get this easily out at any of the mainstream stores out there that might be in your area. You can order this online, too. Amazon or Google search. Well, you'll find this Oval 16, Prang Oval 16, beautiful watercolor set. It comes with a brush, so you can always remember, if you buy this watercolor set, you're going to get all these watercolors as well as a brush. So you'll be set, and then all you need to do is pick up some paper, and you'll be set to start practicing all these paintings and techniques. Certainly you can use or you can create smaller versions of what I'm doing here. You don't have to create a larger painting. This one's maybe like 10 by 14 or 10 by 16, this painting, but you can do smaller paintings with a smaller brush like this with this set. Now, the thing here I want to explain quickly, and I want you to really just kind of understand this quickly as we start. We're going to be doing the glazing technique, and really the glazing technique, if you can just really simplify it in your mind and say, what is the glazing technique? It's real simple. The first thing we do is we get a simple light wash over everything. So we get a light wash on the whole paper, like this. So if this is our paper that we're our painting, this is our painting right here, we do this. We get the first light wash on the painting like that, very light across the whole paper. Then after that, then we go in and we get our darker darks. So we might use that Prang Oval 16 round brush that we have with the paint set. And with that, you know, it's pretty much, we could start just doing some darker darks. So let's say we're doing some windows. Okay, so there we go. We have some windows. Maybe we have a door here. Okay, so maybe this is a okay, so maybe this is a building or something. That's the roof up here. This is the wall. Maybe there's a couple more windows over here. So basically you get the idea of you do your light wash first over the whole painting, and then you go over the top with your darker darks like this for your windows, your doors, any other things. Maybe there might be a tree or something you're going to paint over here. So you're going to do like maybe a bush over here, maybe a tree over here, like so. So I hope that kind of just really, the glazing technique is doing that very, very light wash first, and then going over the top once it dries with the darker washes like these. The windows, the bush over here, the tree over here maybe, and then maybe a few little details, you know. You can have a few details here and there. And that's all it is, the glazing technique. Very simply shown in a little bit of a quick rendition. So now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take our square brush here, which is a 3/8 or 5/8 Princeton Art and Brush Company square brush, like so. Fresh clean water. And then I'm just going to start putting some fresh clean water on my watercolor paper here. We did the drawing first, obviously. I go along the top of the painting first, up here all the way across, so that I have that top line where I have my tape. So I taped around the whole, I taped around my whole border of my painting. Just simply, very easy to do. Then intermittently, or here and there, I put more clean water on, but not everywhere. I leave it a little bit hit and miss. You know, I don't want everything covered with water. We need a little variety here. So that's what I do. I just take that clean water and put it here and there all the way down to the bottom of the painting. But I'm not fussing too much with covering the whole watercolor paper, just here and there. And that should be good. I just splash it on, you know, get it on there. We're having fun. That's the thing with watercolor, having fun, because the water, a lot of times the water and the paint does most of the work for you. You don't have to worry. Once you get your sketch in, and that's why you always see me on my channel, whether you're watching Extreme Beginners or drawing sessions and drawing tutorials, or my normal, more advanced videos on YouTube that I do. If you follow me on all of them. Don't worry about it if you're an extreme beginner. Follow my other videos too, because you can just practice along with all of them. And the thing I really say is, if you can really practice on your drawing skills quite a bit, so if you're doing 10, 15 minutes a day doing sketches and drawings like this, you're going to be so much better off, because that's a fundamental of watercolor, is being able to render a building, render a city scene with buildings like some skyscrapers, or to render a tree, or maybe a still life, some flowers in a vase, and maybe some fruit and an apple and an orange and things like this. So keep practicing your drawing skills. That's so important. And then also too, you're going to be practicing your watercolor methods like we're doing here, which is the glazing technique. And you're seeing that I'm getting the water all over the paper, but not everywhere. I left some spots of dry paper here and there, not a worry. Okay, then I come over here and I start mixing my colors. I have some time now as this sort of does its thing there, you know. Don't have to worry. Once you wet that paper like that, it's going to stay wet for quite a long time. So now we get our colors, our sky colors, and some grayish colors, maybe for some maybe some interesting grayish clouds. We're going to put lots of color and have fun. Mix lots of color in your palette like this, so you have plenty of colors to mix in the beginning. Maybe I'll do some green up here. Green and brown gives me olive green, so I'll have some olive green here. Like that, olive green for the grass and things. Sky wash, okay, so we have, and maybe some orange and yellow and brown for some, like, maybe some sand or dirt colors. You know, you have some dirt on the farm, some dirt roads and things like that. So you want to have some earthy golds and browns. So here we have all the colors mixed. The water here is just sitting fine. It's not going to go anywhere. Then we mix up our colors quick. We have our green, olive green, which is green, and brown, gives us olive green. Then we have some grayish mix, which is some blue, and some, we use green and blue, and a little bit of brown to give us a grayish kind of mix there. Then we have our blue sky color, like that, a good beautiful sky color, and some more sky color over here, and then our sand color, maybe some dirt and sand. Okay, so we have a good mixture of what you would see on a farm, basically, the farm colors. So then we'll take our nice blue, look at how great that looks, greenish blue. If you want to have more French ultramarine to give it a little more of a sky blue. And that's all we do, is we get in that color on the sky, like so, up on the top. Leave some white paper there too. Don't have to worry. Maybe there's a cloud back there. There's a happy cloud up here. Maybe a little bit of cloud up there. And you can see I'm just working it down right into the roofs, the colors, fine. Building, fine. You can kind of leave the darker colors up top. And then you leave it darker up top, and then it gets lighter as it comes down here along the roofs and the building. Okay, maybe add a little green in there too. Why not? You're going to have green in the grass and things like that. Maybe there's some clouds up there, some little bit of stormy clouds. You make your happy world here as you paint. Okay, but you're letting the paint and the water do the work. Just get the stuff on there quick, the paint and the water, the washes, and then let it flow on down like this. Then I'll take a touch of orange. And if I need to, don't be afearded. Clean up a spot on your palette so you can make a little bit of orange. Clean orange with nothing else. And then you're going to add that over here. That's the horizon line of the sky, which is always a little bit warmer. So you add that little bit of orange there. And then you can just kind of brush everything in, kind of, blend it in like so. And then here we have some sand colors. Let's do those. All these are light washes. And over here too, we're going to do some sky wash reflected in the, remember, this is a pond over here. This whole area here is a pond. So that's where you add those sky colors reflecting down into the pond. Just like that. And There we go, some blue and some green. That's a happy pond, and we are going to, in just a second, show you how you can take these puddles, use a paper towel, and just blot up all the puddles that are building up at the bottom of your painting. Even on the side too, you can just kind of dry up and blot up some of that water puddles that build up, because we used a lot of water here. And that's what we want to do. You want to use a lot of water. We're doing the glazing technique, which means we want to use lots of water. We don't want to be, cutting back on the water. We want lots of water. And this is only the first wash, only the first glazing. Don't forget, we're going over with darks on top of darks over here. So this is just a light coating, if you can imagine, a light glazing over the whole paper to just kind of give it a nice overall light wash, which sets the tone for the rest of the painting. And that's all we have to remember. You're just setting the tone with that first wash like we just did now. And it doesn't have to be accurate or anything like that. You just kind of have fun, get the paint on there in the water, let it flow on down, work it around. Then when you have puddles at the bottom, you blot it up with a paper towel. Paper towels are really absorbent. So when you just touch those puddles, they just dry right up and soak right up into the paper towel. And if you want a couple of light spots in your sky, you can actually blot up a little bit with your paper towel, like so, here and there. And that is it. All right, so let's take a break. I'm going to take a break if that's okay, if you don't mind. And when I come back, this will be all dry. Within, the next half an hour I'll come back. It'll be dry. The paper, the first wash will be dry. And then we'll go over with our darker washes, which is going to be the roof, the windows, the doors. And we're going to have some beautiful reflections in the pond here. And you'll see how this all comes together very beautifully when we start getting our darker darks over the top of the dry first glazing. That's the only thing you have to remember. When you're doing the glazing technique, you do this first light wash over the whole paper, but at that point you have to let this dry 100%. You can't come back in when it's damp or, halfway dry, because it'll be just a giant mess. So remember, if you want to let this dry, you have to let it dry a couple hours or so, or you can use a blow dryer. A blow dryer, you can dry this off in like 5 minutes. So if you want to keep working and you don't want to wait 2 hours, use your blow dryer and dry it all off. Make sure it's super dry so that when you touch it, there's no dampness. And then you can get your darker washes on top of this one that we just did. So that's all it is, really. Very simple, right? Nothing too crazy. Nothing, like rocket science or anything like that. Very, very straightforward. So I'm going to let this dry 100%, and then we'll come back and get started again. Be right back. Okay, we are back. We let our painting dry, our first glazing. So let's cover just a quick second here the glazing technique, so we can kind of just see it right now at the beginning. I'm just going to glazing technique, glazing method, glazing technique. Okay, first is light wash. Let dry. Medium wash. Medium washes. Let dry. Dark washes. Complete. So that's basically our glazing technique in a bullet point format. Light wash first, we just completed that. The whole paper, your light wash, getting basically a tone on your watercolor paper, lots of water, beautiful colors. You're mixing and mingling all your warm and cool colors everywhere. We happen to give this a bluish green tint with some golds in there too. Okay, we let that dry. It's now completely 100% dry. Now we're going to go in with our medium washes. So next in the process is the medium washes. We're going to do that next. So basically, if we look at this, this would be our light washes right here, where that cream color and blue, light blue and cream color, that's our light wash there, the whole paper. Then we went over with our medium wash. We did it real fast. Then the medium wash is this here. That's the medium, this here, this here. And then our dark washes were this here, this bush, this ground, maybe a tree over here, some dark windows and doors. And that basically is our glazing technique. So that's all it really is. It's that simple. And if we stay disciplined and we work in this type of bullet point format where we kind of just know the technique, it's the glazing technique we know. First wash is your light wash. You get it on there and you let it dry 100%. Of course you do your sketch first, your drawing. Then after it dries 100%, you come in, we'll do our medium washes like we're going to do right now. And then once we're done with that, and that starts to dry, then we can start working in our darker washes, which are our darkest darks. So toward the end, you can kind of mix and match medium and dark washes, I think. We'll see how that goes, but definitely your light wash first and let dry 100% is crucial because we put a lot of water on that paper first when we did this, right? Okay, so let's continue on. And we have our brushes here. We have our square brush that we're using, so we're just going to continue with that because it's fantastic. We have our farmhouse here, and then maybe I'll use this smaller square brush too. And then finally, for a little bit of details here and there, we're probably going to need a round brush with a good point. So I'm going to use my Prang Oval 16 brush too to do some maybe finer details on the trees and some of the shrubs and maybe a few other things, maybe some details to the chimneys or whatever. But we'll go along here and see how it works out. All right, so we have our colors in our palette now. We can leave what's in there, I think. We have some green, olive green. We can leave that. This is like a grayish green. We can leave that too. This is a clear spot on our palette. I'm going to put some fresh water into my water bucket. Coming back to do our medium wash now. So fresh, clean water. My large brush, square brush. And I think we have an open spot here. We're going to do some oranges and reds here. Orange and red. We're going to mix up some brown. And maybe let's do this. I'll clean a few more spots here. And let's see. Maybe we're going to do some more red over here. Okay, and so we got a brownish orange. We have more of a reddish color here. We have an interesting brownish gold here, so we can use this. Maybe let's do some purple up here, maybe some purple with some brown, French ultramarine blue, purple. Kind of a cool color, like a shadowy color. And I think that is looking pretty good. And we have our olive green over here. I think that's looking pretty good. Maybe some blue over here on this side. So you can see I'm pre-mixing now so that when I start going in and painting, I've already got my colors mixed. I thought to myself, what colors am I going to need? Oranges and reds for the chimneys, the roof. Some of this golden color for some of the ground, dirt and ground kind of colors. Olive green for some of the trees, bushes. And this brown color too for the building, the facade of the barn. So let's get started. We're going to leave it kind of simple. And we'll start with our brownish color. And we're going to do, let's just take our square brush and get some wash on here. And if you go over the window a little bit, no big deal. You can use your smaller brush if you need to. Let's do that. I'll do the smaller brush here. Like that. So this way I can sorry about the noise. There we go. So we're just getting on our washes for the building here, the barn. This is like a farmhouse basically. And we just have some tidy up these a little bit like so. And then over here, same thing. Maybe this is a little cooler over here. I'll add a little bit of that bluish purple. Like that. And then some more red too. Some of that reddish brown. There we go. So we're having fun here, right? This is great. We're using our square brush here. We're just getting the facade of this building blocked in with some beautiful wash, some medium wash. Remember, we're doing medium wash here, not dark. We'll go with the medium wash first. And we're going to continue over here too. This might be a little bit, maybe we'll mix up some purple and red and orange. We'll maybe make this a little bit different. This might be some brick over here on this portion of the building. This might be some boards like wood, and then over here this might be brick. So we'll do this here. We'll do some. We'll say that this is some brickwork. It's a little bit darker, the color, and it's not super dark. It's, you know. And I'm just being careful as I paint with my square brush to try to get it somewhat accurate, but it doesn't have to be perfect. There's some windows there. I'm going to try to leave those white paper. Like that. And I'll try to do this with the same as this over here. That. Okay. So far, so good. And if you go over a window and you want to lift up a little bit of paint, you can take a tissue or something, paper towel. And next, we'll go for the roof. Let's do some roofing here. Maybe we'll do more of the red color, like a brick, kind of orangey red. A little purple. A little brown. Kind of mix it up. Maybe let's make it a little more blue and brown and red. Let's mix it up, make it a little darker. Yeah, that looks good. I'll spin my brush around this way, and maybe I'll just try to slide my brush across this way to get the roof over here. You could do it this way too, I guess. Okay. And then let's do this roof over here. Like that. Okay, so we have our roofing. Good. Let's do a little blue in there. So a little bit of blue color. I'll infuse a little blue and purple just to give it a little bit of a variation. Then I would say next, let's get the purplish background, purplish and green. So these are going to be the mountains and hills, purplish green. I'll paint around the tree a little bit if I can. Like that. Like so. Okay, so we have our background mountains. Could be trees too. And we're working along here at a good pace. Let's do some grass, some green grass, and then maybe some little bit of brown mixed in there. Green, so we're using the pre-mixed colors we did. Like this. Brown and green gives us like an olivey color. Looks really good. Like this here. Then some scrubby kind of lines here. We don't want to fill everything in. Let's do some browns here. Okay, we can add a little bit of brighter green here, maybe in the middle. Now that can be just to add some exciting color toward the center of the painting. Okay. All right, we're going to let that kind of sit for a few. Okay, now let's take our smaller square brush. Let's do the chimneys. So chimneys, let's make these orange. Orangey red. Okay, and I'll just start over here and try to get these in. And if they're a little bit, you know, if I scrub a little bit, that's fine. And you can see I'm using a really good, rich, dark, reddish color. And then I'll do the same over here. And I'm using this smaller square brush, as you can see. I like to use this if I'm doing like smaller things like this, smaller items. The large brush might be a little more difficult to capture these more smaller sections of the chimney areas. Okay. Like that. Then you can even infuse some orange, straight orange paint. And that should be good for right now. We'll go in and do some of the tops of the chimneys next, but we'll let that dry a little bit. Let's work on our tree on the right-hand side. Let's see if we can get some brown, green, brown, green, a little bit orange maybe. Let's try to get some of this tree in here. So let's... Now to get a really good tree, if you want, once you get some of that big trunk area in here, then you can dry off the brush a little bit. And then this way you have a little bit less paint on the brush. That might be better off. It helps. And by the time you're finishing up with the rest of the paint on the brush, you have just enough so you can have little bits of paint left on the brush and not a whole. To do these smaller branches, you can't have too much paint. Does that make sense on the brush? So you got to dry off the brush a little to get these finer branches. We'll make some some leaves on this tree in a second. We'll just kind of let this dry a little bit, but I think we'll let that dry like that. Okay, so we have that nice dark tree here with beautiful color. We can always lift up a little bit of paint like that. And let's see what else we can do right now. Let's take the smaller brush again. I'm going to change my water again. Fresh, clean water. I want to do some blue in the windows. So to do some blue in the windows, I'm going to take some of this blue, like that. Like this. Like that. Maybe some darker over here. So this is all I'm doing is really just basically trying to get in some color into these, and this is a doorway, so let me do the darker dark here. Like that. Same thing over here, a darker dark up here. And then for the door, I might rinse the brush off in clean water and then just bring down the paint a little bit so that it's a little bit lighter at the bottom, like that. Maybe some darker darks up here. Usually a little bit darker up on there. And then up here, same thing. There we do some more blue paint. Blue looks good with windows. It kind of picks up, windows pick up the sky color, so you can always be safe putting some blue in your, whatever color your sky is. If you put some of that color in your windows, you're fine. And then this here, let's do some dark. And what looks good is if you can get these darks in now as we're going. It really does look good to get the full range of all the darks, lights to darks. So that's what we did here. We just basically made sure we were getting our first wash super light glazing. That's the first glazing. Let it dry 100%, and then we went over with our medium washes, which are this. And then we start to get into the darker washes, the roofs, the chimneys. And you can kind of see how we're building layers of light to dark. So as we're going through the painting, the final washes we're doing now in colors are the darks. And they look really great. They just make everything come together and look really fantastic. So we are almost there. Okay, I'm going to have to change my water another time probably. Maybe not. Let's do the chimneys, the tops of the chimneys. I might use my small square brush again. We've been working 20 minutes. You know what? Let's take a quick break. I've been working 20 minutes now. You kind of saw how everything is. Again, we talked about the process, lights first and then your mediums, and now we're finishing up with our darks. So let's take a quick break, and then once we come back, we'll finish up. We'll do some reflections of the farmhouse here in this pond. This is a pond, let's say, and we're going to bring some reflections down in the pond of this building, this farmhouse. And then we'll put some leaves on the tree over here, and we'll finish up the tops of the chimneys, the chimney pots, the clay pots on top, and maybe a few bushes, and maybe a couple fence posts, and we'll be all set here. This is really almost 90% complete. So we'll come right back in a second and finish up. And I always mention too, if you haven't subscribed, on the bottom here, there's the subscribe button on the right-hand side of the screen. If you subscribe to my channel and you click the notification bell, which is the top bell, all notifications on the top, right underneath the subscribe button, all that will do is just the next time you open up YouTube and you're going to watch videos, you'll see my most recent YouTube tutorial on your YouTube homepage. So you won't lose track of me. You'll be able to find me easy. And this way, if you want to pick up and start working with us on the next video, this week or next week, or wherever, you can also go back and do some of the other videos. We have archives here on my channel, over 200 videos similar to this one. You can check those out. Okay, just want to mention that, and we'll see you in just a second. Okay, we're almost completed. Let's finish up. So we're going to do the chimney tops. Let's see if we can... I'll use my round brush, the brush that comes with the Prang oval set here, oval 16 set. We'll do the chimney. Then we'll do the chimney pots, the tops. So I'll just do a couple of the orangey red chimney pots. I'll go straight in and get some of the paint right from the, like that. This one here is kind of a bluish color. That one's metal. Then, let's see here. We're going to have the light coming from the right-hand side. So I'll just put this light insignia here, because we'll develop a few shadows now. So I'll put the light insignia up on the right-hand corner, thinking that the light's coming this way. And let's see what we can do next. We can create some shadows. I think what we'll do next is let's get some reflections in the water. So what we'll do is we're going to mix some of that orange and red, brown, and we're going to start putting some of that in the water. So I'm just loading up my brush with water in my water container and then bringing it over here. And we'll just put some color into the water here. A little bit extra water doesn't hurt. There's some purplish color here for this here, so this might be a little bit darker, maybe like that. And then some purple for the purple mountains over here. So I'm just getting some of that wash on the paper, like that. Then I might go across like this. I could take a paper towel and then take a paper towel and just kind of make a little bit of a pointy edge on it, and you can go across and do a couple of like this. Like that. We'll make some darks. Once this dries a little bit, we'll make some darks in there maybe. Maybe we can even do it now. We don't want it to look too like that. This one here, closer, this one here. Okay, so those are just again a little bit of the reflections. Maybe there's a little bit of reflections here too. And we can go over this a little more later. You can always blot up a little bit if you think you need to blot up a little bit of puddles. And we can go over more later. Let's leave this go now. We don't want to do much more there with that. Maybe a little bit of blue. A little bit of blue here and there. That's sort of the sky reflecting in some of the puddles. Maybe there's some puddles over here of water. Same with this here. If we can get some of that blue in. Like so, just to get that color blue in there that we're using. Okay, now let's get some tree leaves on there. If you find there's too much paint, blot some paint up, get some, start again, maybe make some like that. That's an olivey green. I think that looks good. Maybe a little orange in there. I take my brush and use the side of the brush so you can kind of see how I'm not using this part. I'm turning the brush like this. So I'm taking my square brush, turning it this way, and then just doing some and that's all, a little bit of branches. Like that. And then maybe a little bit of a couple of bushes over here too. So you can just add a couple. Usually farmhouses don't have a lot of decorative bushes and things, but maybe there's a few here and there. We'll put a few like that. Just have a couple bushes here and there. And then what is good is it actually builds a little bit of a layering effect. So you feel like you have layers of bushes here, and then behind the bushes you have these purple mountains or trees, and that looks good, I think. Then we can actually add some more shadows. Let's take some purple with a little bit of brown, and I'm going to try to get a good shadow underneath the roof here. Okay, and then we'll do one over here too. And I'm just doing it the width of the brush. Just like this. Then I'm going to do the same over here. I'm going to make some shadows underneath the eaves of this gable here. And the same thing over here, there's a little bit of a shadow under there. And up here too. And over here. So I'm just working in some shadows under these eaves. of the roof. Then there's also shadows along this side here, the chimney. And then over here too as well on this side. So this is where you can kind of, this is a pretty safe bet for the shadows when you're doing something like this. Under the eaves of the roof and then alongside the chimneys. Like these are areas you can kind of see there would be a shadow if the light's coming in this direction. So you get one here along this side. And then here, and then there's also going to be another shadow. And you can make it pretty dark, brown and purple. There's going to be there and up here too as well, underneath the chimney caps. So you kind of work around the painting and see where you might add some shadows. Over here I wouldn't go too much. I would just maybe a little bit on the bushes, maybe a little bit along the bottoms of the bushes, and there might be some there on the bottoms. But I think this is looking pretty good, and I'm not going overboard, going with too much. Let's not overdo it. Remember that doing too much work at the end of your painting can really ruin things. So I'm just trying to correct a few things here. So I'm going to lift up some paint over here like that. Over here too, I think I went over a little bit like that. And then over here, I think I wanted to just touching up a few spots at this point. This, I think we can use the darker darks now again. Brown, blue, purple, some red. Touch of black maybe. Dry off the brush a little bit. And I still want to get these in there like this. The windows. And then this is a window there. Maybe this door is here. So we're going to pick up a couple of the... I want to try to get that feeling of reflections over here, maybe. So if these are up here, these will be closer here. That's maybe a little bit of water there, so maybe there's a little bit of reflection there. Then once I have that, I might take some of that blue. One more time. I'm just trying something out here. It might not work. It may work. But I'm just going to try to do some feeling of water. Just kind of going across like this. Maybe it works. Like that. And Just trying to make some reflections in the water and try to get it looking watery. A couple of splashes on there, and I think that's it. I think everything looks good here. I'm happy right now with the way it looks. I think doing anything much more is going to actually be too much and start to make it go the other way, downhill. I will do the fence. There's a fence over here. Let's do that. So again, I load up my brush with that dark. We mix purple, brown, a little bit of touch of black, a little bit of red, a little bit of everything. And I'll just do some fencing here. So I'll do like one here. And I'll just go here and there. Like this. And then as I get now I'm going to want to go thinner with it. So I need to use my needlepoint brush now. Like this. And we'll do another little bit of fencing over here maybe. And this kind of just adds a nice bit of depth perception here. So these are a little bit larger. The fence posts over here are a little larger. Brown, touch of black, red. Dry off a little bit of the brush. And just a couple like that. So we have some fence posts, maybe a few over here. Maybe a couple. This always looks good. A couple little bits of bushes and brush and twigs and things. That really can add a lot to the painting. So I will always say, don't overdo it, obviously. I'm trying not to overdo anything here because it really is a risky thing to start going in and doing a lot of... But this always does look good. A couple of things like this over by the house, by the farmhouse here. You know, just a little indication of something going on with some brush and twigs and things like that, right? That always does enhance things a little bit. Then along the water, the same thing. Along here. But just little indications, not too much. And I think that's fine. I think everything looks good. Another little bit maybe here, the reflections here. There's a little bit of water. And where that water is picking up this doorway here. Not that far over though, right about there. So you're trying to keep it in line. So maybe that door, up to the farmhouse here, there's some water there and it's picking it up, the reflections. Like that. Again, these little bit of darks and for the reflections, they do work and look good. Like that. So these here are the windows up here. The windows here and here. You see I added a little dark there and then door over here. So that kind of makes this look like a real pond or water. And we could even put in maybe we can put in, I don't want to do anything, maybe a figure. Let's do a figure. So we have somebody here working, a farmer here. Maybe he's got a wheelbarrow or some buckets and things. So this is always fun to do, to just add a little figure or two. Maybe that's good. We'll just do one figure here, a little bit of a shadow. Okay, perfect. Everyone have a great time doing this painting. Enjoy. This is just about practicing the glazing technique. This is just a composition where we try to do all the steps in the glazing technique, and you'll have fun with this. Try it a few different times. Maybe try different color combinations with different color buildings. Maybe a white building, a red building, maybe a gold color building. We did some reddish brown color building here. I think this looks great. You can do different color roofs, like grayish blue roofs. You know, you can change things around. You can make it a different time of year, a different type of season, maybe autumn colors for the leaves, and the you know, maybe more like oranges and golds. This is more of a summery type feel. Summertime, springtime maybe. Early autumn. But I think we did a good job here. I know you're going to have a great time painting this painting and having fun with it. And I'm doing a couple of shadows here. And if you get a little bit of, add a little water to it. Most times it cleans up okay. So I got a little spot on there, no big deal. A little bit of clean water and a paper towel, and I scrub it. Comes right off. Okay. Have fun, enjoy. We'll see you on the next video, okay? Bye-bye.